All right, family. Black Power is the true power with General Sarah Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. That's right, family. We're in the house. Why did the ancient Egyptians paint their gods black? We act as if we can't, look at the color spectrum of divinity in ancient Egypt, make a clear understanding. Why would, people, if they were of any other color, than black, then why would they create their most venerated gods black? You see, and we got all the documents to back it up. The supreme, most venerated gods of all of Egypt were black. But people say that the Egyptians and the Nubians was enemies. Then why would the ancient Egyptians paint their deities the same color as their enemies? I can't get no answer. But we're gonna get down to the get down family before we get started. Make sure you get over there to Patreon. General Seti, you feel me? Over 500 exclusive live stream, nothing but fire. We got that shot, the Shabaka Stone breakdown going down. I want you over there to get that work. Also, KingSeti.com, official General Seti products, t-shirts, DVDs, hoodies. We got all that for your family. You can become a member. General Seti's YouTube, Sarasu Seti YouTube, and get access to exclusive material. And make sure you get this video a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. Comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because you will get banned. And so, we're talking about clearly some of the most important deities, the supreme deities. We just got to be clear about that. We're not just talking about any deity. The deities that you see behind me, I'm going to put it up here for you so you can get, we talking about Osar, Lord of the Perfect Black, Ptah, the supreme deity of creation, who spoke creation to existence with divine intellect. We talking about Amen, the supreme God of the new kingdom, partially the middle kingdom. We're talking about three of the greatest, if not the greatest gods of ancient Egypt: Osiris, Asar, Ptah, and Amen. These are probably the three most powerful gods in all of ancient Egypt, and they painted black all the time. Okay, we got some deities that just painted black, and every blue moon you'll get Osiris is green. You get the green, but clearly they say the majority of the time he's black. Ptah, also majority of the time black because he's the personification of the cosmic melanin of creation before creation. So that's why he's always depicted, and Amen, the hidden. And his other attribute, the god men, also depicted black. So we have to understand that, there's something here. So it is one of the reasons why it's called the land of Kemet. The black land is also because everything black, the gods, the people, and it's almost a natural thing that people create their gods to be the same color as themselves. That's real talk. You see, when you go to China, Chinese make their god look Chinese. When you go to India, Indian people make their god look Indian. When you go to Greece, Greek gods, well, some of them, until you get to them early ones, and, I shouldn't have used that one because when you get to the European era of ancient Greece, they make them look European. They make them look Caucasian. And let's say that. They make them look Caucasian. When you go to Rome, they make them look Caucasian. So when you look at Emperor Hadrian and Julius Caesar, the gods look, when you look at Zeus and Jupiter and all, they look Caucasian. You see? So most people on the planet, they see their God as they see themselves. They see their God as they see themselves. And so now a lot of people see they used to say, oh, black means death. No, that's tied, tied interpretation. Most Caucasian don't fall for that no more because they know better. They've been adjusted long time ago, and many of them already just spoke the truth, just flat out just spoke the truth because they knew better than that. Because the majority of the gods that they were referring to was speaking of life. They was of creation, and so you couldn't play that. Ptah is a god of creation, so you can't play that card on Ptah. Amen was another god of creation and life. You couldn't play that god. Osiris was the god of resurrection. You couldn't play that card on Osiris. He's not the god of death. He's the god of resurrection. That's what Osiris is. Okay, so now I had to ask I had to ask the chat. I said, well, the gods, the ancient Egyptian gods that were painted black and what that meant. Okay, so it says, we're tapping into a real, well-documented artistic convention, not a fringe idea. In ancient, Egyptian comedic art, black was sacred, not negative. It symbolized primeval creation, fertility, regeneration, and divine power rooted in the black silk kim of the Nile. You see? So even there, when you tapping in, if you hearing it, you got to hear me now. You hear what it just said. Let me tap into that. It says, blackness, which symbolize primeval creation, fertility, regeneration, and divine power rooted in the black silk kim of the Nile. So even in that, you see, the color of the deity is symbolic also of the creative force of that silk that came down the river in which the Africans planted seeds and didn't even have to plant the seeds. The seeds planted themselves, and all type of food grew up out of the soil. You see, so the soil itself was a form of regeneration. So just that alone, you see, when you talk about the skin color, there's no way that the Kemetic people looked at all their deities as black. You see, the very life force of what gave creation to Egypt is black. You see, the very cosmic, and they see themselves. No people that was not of that essence would put so much into, you see, creating something and then turn around and say, and use the same color that you create the deities with, that you supposedly did. The Nubians your enemy, even though we could show where Egyptians were also black. A lot of people's is showing up with that now. See, all that fake watering down the colors, knocking the noses off and the lips off, all that is over with. You see what I'm saying? That's over with. Only people that's unaware of what's been going on. I don't see how many, a lot of people are unaware. Until I got the book Rape of the Nile by Brian Fagan, which just happened to be a Caucasian. And that's probably the most documented book on the pillaging of ancient Egypt. Who did it? When did they do it? How much they took? You see? So they were in there, like madmen, just tearing up, pillaging. They didn't have no respect. If they were just trying to get some jewels, they didn't have no respect for no tombs and no grave. They didn't knock it. And then if they see and it's African, they most definitely gonna destroy it. Okay, so that's most definitely. So we see right here that it says below are the ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses most frequently painted or shown black and why it mattered. Okay, let's deal with the first. Osiris. Most famous black-skinned deity was Osiris. The Lord of resurrection, God of resurrection, regeneration, and agriculture. You see, that's one of the one, so his flesh is symbolic of the silk, you see, of regeneration, of resurrection, agriculture. Black equal rebirth after death, fertile soil, eternal renewal. You see, Osiris is never shown as weak or inferior. He rules the Duat. Okay, another one of the deities that's always painted black was Anubis. Okay, he was also depicted black. Anubis. Matter of fact, let me get down. Okay. Well, I ain't got him in there. But Anubis was also one of the gods that's always shown as jet black jackal. Black symbolized preservation, mummification, protection of the dead, regenerative powers of embalming. Okay, jackals were associated with graveyards, divine guardians. So you see, another one of the gods, the one we looking at right now, Ptah, creator god of Memphis, frequently shown with dark or black skin. Black equaling primordial creative force. Ptah creates through thought and speech, cosmic intelligence. So Ptah, we're not talking about no sideline gods. We talking about the Osiris, Ptah, and Amen are three of the most powerful gods in all of Egypt's history. You talking about supreme deities. Both Ptah, Osiris was never the supreme deity, but he was the god of resurrection, which made him, he probably was one of the more popular gods because everybody wanted to, they wanted to resurrect. So he was highly venerated. You feel me? He was highly venerated. So so you got Ptah, creator, god of Memphis. Okay, and men now all the way to the right you see men, which is a particular veneration of Amen, but as a fertility god. You see, so he was shown, black is, and he had an erect phallus, as we, so. But for y'all not to be perverted in that means to be fertile, to be able to regenerate through passing your seed and having children. You see, which all kings wanted to have an heir where they could carry on the dynasty and things of that nature. So they prayed and venerated men. So often depicted solid black. This is what it's saying now. It ain't saying, it's saying solid black. Okay, now it's crazy because we see here, some of the Nubians was also painted the same color. How is it that the Nubians is painted black and the Egyptian gods is painted black, but somehow people look at that as inferior? That don't make no sense to me. That just, that's, I don't know what type of logic that people get out of that. Your gods is the same color as the Nubian, but we don't understand that there was black Egyptians that was painted black also. You see? But we got to understand that there's been a lot of pillaging and plundering, and peoples is now coming out with pictures, because there were early, peoples was taking pictures of ancient Egypt, when they first went in 1800s, they was drawing pictures, and some early pictures in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and they're showing damage done to some of these damn statues just recently. Because they got the earlier picture, you understand what I'm saying, and coloration on the walls. Well, now they can show you the earlier pictures, and that's the thing about having certain books that, where they took pictures in the earlier periods of, as they started to go into Egypt, and people taking, and you can make the comparison today. They in there changing the walls. They in there they got an agenda, so they're gonna do whatever is necessary to change the narrative, but it's too late, because that's why them books is so necessary, that you get the books with the early pictures in it. You understand? And people's is not doing that and showing that a lot of the damage that's been done to Egypt is been done just recently. Just damn recently. So so we see that men often depicted solid black, god of fertility, virility, vegetation. Black skin equals sexual potency and agricultural abundance. One of the oldest gods in Egypt. So let's get back to that. So men is one of the oldest gods in Egypt. That's all the way to the right. Okay. Then you got Amen, and Amen look almost exactly like exactly like men. Okay, sometimes painted black or deep blue, especially in Nubia and Upper Egypt. So see, that's very significant, especially in Nubia and Upper Egypt, and that's very key, because when the 25th dynasty of Nubia, when the Nubians came in to liberate Egypt in the 25th dynasty, it had failed down. Outside foreigners had taken on the throne for 300-400 years. Here come the Nubians, the great 25th dynasty of Kashta, Pianki, Taaka, Shabaka. You see, come in and lift Egypt up, clean up all the temples, and restore the great veneration of Amen. So Amen was also venerated in Nubia, you see, and so they come in and they re-establish the great worship of Amen and the goddess Mu. So we talking about Amen also equaling. Let me make sure. That should have. Let me see. I don't know why that ain't switched over yet. There you go. Yeah. So. And in the ram, his symbol, ram and human forms both carry this symbolism. You see? So now also one of the Isis was also shown with darker black skin. Isis, goddess of magic, resurrection, cosmic motherhood, black equal mastery of life, death cycles. You see, so Isis was also depicted black or dark skin, Sekhmet, also frequently carved in black granite. Goddess of power, war, healing, and plague. Black stone used to amplify divine ferocity and impermanence. Okay, impermanence. Then you got goddess Mut, who was the supreme goddess of the new kingdom, often depicted in black stone. Mother of kings, cosmic womb. Black equal primal feminine feminine creation. So when you talk about the black hole, you see, when you talk about the black hole and you talking about the cosmic womb of goddess Mut, Nu, you see all of these goddesses, and just like the gods, have similar attributes, you see. And so let me get this in here. And so again, when you talk about when we talk about Kim, and we talk about the soil that comes from out of Ethiopia, and that's got to be clear that the silk that they talking about in Egypt comes from Ethiopia. Okay, when the Nile starts to flood, this black mud, this black silk comes from Ethiopia. Okay, so as you can see, the river Nile, when it floods, you can see it's dark brown. It's dark brown. And so you already know it was black before it hit the water. And once it get all the way down and the water recede, after the water recedes, you will see all these hills of black silk that the Egyptians gonna use. They don't use it anymore, I guess, in certain areas of Egypt because they put the dam in there, the Aswan Dam. And so most of that silk probably is behind the dam. It probably piles up behind the dam, and I'm quite sure they probably still get it and use it, you see, because it's so rich. But anyway, it will pile up at the end of the Nile at the mouth of the Nile down in the delta. But this is the regenerative silk that brings life to Egypt. Without that silk, Egypt would not exist. But this is the same black silk that Khnum, the Nubian god, because the Khnum is the patron god of the first Nomi of Upper Egypt, Ta Seti, which is Nubia. Okay, so nobody's talking about the creator god of all ancient Egypt. For it never was another creator god of humanity other than Khnum is a Nubian god. You see, and nobody's talking about that. And that's why Dr. Ben used to say certain gods they don't even bring up because they're going to have to admit that they Nubian. Okay? A lot of Egyptian gods are Nubian gods. They come out of Nubia. Okay. That just need to be, brought forward so that you know. And so Mut, who was the chief goddess of the new kingdom, often depicted in Blackstone. Even the sister of Aset and Osar was Nebhet, guardian of the dead alongside Isis, black associated with protection and rebirth. Okay, so the key cultural fact, which is important in Kemet, black is sacred. Black equals fertile. Black equals eternal renewal. Black equals divine hidden power. Like Amen. You see what I'm saying? The very name Kemet means black land. Okay, so when gods are painted black, it is intentional, theological, and symbolic, not random, not artistic variation, definitely not negative. So it was a reason why they did that. And so even the AI is clear. I asked, what did black mean to the ancient Egyptians? Black was the most sacred color in ancient Egypt. Period. The same color that they paint the Nubians and other gods, they use, the same color they use to paint the Nubians and many other Egyptians, but obviously people are not aware of that because maybe they hide a lot of these, but it's showing up pretty relative, they're showing up, so if you really want to find out, it's out there for people and and they've been hiding this. So it was the most sacred color in all of ancient Egypt. It meant life, creation, regeneration, and divine power, the exact opposite of modern negative associations. Okay, so that's clear. So for anybody out there, we trying to get this to understand that the Egyptians was black. That's what color they were. They were black. You got the variations, of black. Even here in America, you can have somebody light, you can have somebody dark black. But all are identified as black people. But in ancient Egypt, if unless you all black, they say you black. Then if you see somebody that's brown and they of a different race or something, that don't make no damn sense. There's many variations of what we call quote unquote black. There's many color variations of quote unquote what we call black. Okay, and so it was so in ancient Egypt also. That's what they show but they identified themselves as an African tree, you see, of the same family. That's what was shown. Okay. And we can't make shit up as we go. You know, you can't go back and rewrite history to suit, you understand, your preference. You can't do that. It is what it is. It is what it is, and accept it. But anyway, family, I appreciate y'all for being here. We got one more fire presentation for this early afternoon or early evening. Now, what I'm talking about, afternoon been gone so long, is ridiculous. You see what I'm saying? And so we just had to bring that forward for the family. We had to bring that forward for the family. And we got, we got some more fire. We're gonna be talking about the dreadlocks of the great king Amenemhat. I want you in the house. Don't you hesitate to be here. Get over there to Patreon, man. We got that Shabaka stone dropping tonight, and I want you in the house. See you soon. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.